Hello captains, welcome back to another video. My name is Adam and this is P3D version 4.3. Today we are on the hot island of Ibiza. It's party time and we are at airport Lima Echo Indigo Bravo and just spinning around here. So far everything is kind of like our default way. We have the FS Global handling the mesh of the terrain. We have Terraflora trees. We have Rex Airport HD handling our airport. We have Orbex Global Base and Orbex Global Vector handling the texturing of everything we see for the land, like the land class. And the rest of it is just default P3D. Now, one thing I always find when doing these videos, and for the first time, you know, doing the before shot, is I always have very good frame rates. So I've locked my frames off at 60 frames per second to match with my monitor, and yeah, pretty consistently, as you can see, 60 frames. Now, as I go and add on the Balearic Professional bundle, which comes with Ibiza, Mallorca, and Menorca, it'll be interesting to see how that will affect our frames. So, looking at what we've got here in terms of the airport, you know, it looks very basic, standard. Few airplanes, the buildings here in the background. You can see the terrain is just basic as well. So let's get in the aircraft. Let's take this sucker to the air, and let's see what we can see. Now this is the first part of the video where we fly over Ibiza before installing it, and then we're also going to fly over Mallorca, and we're going to fly over Menorca Airport and sort of island as well. Just to see what everything looks like prior to me installing the hello, that took off pretty quick, before I install the Balearic Professional. Okay, so looking down, the textures of the grass are kind of okay, but they're kind of disjointed here. You get this weird angling stuff there, where Rex Airport HD. Fields are okay. Fields are done by Orbex. You know, off in the distance they look quite nice. The trees, Terraflora, everything looks, you know, okay and reasonable. And frames are jumping around a little bit now, going from 60 down to 30. Airport texturing on there is okay. You know, it's looking pretty nice. I must say. Let's head over here. We'll just do a quick look around. I mean, Ibiza's not a massive island, but it's probably too big to fly around in a single video, and you know, without making it really boring. But just looking through the valley here and all the building placements and everything looks pretty fine. Now we might see some stuttering in the video, but that's just because I'm recording. I don't get them stutters usually, so please just ignore that. Not part of this little see-through thing. So that's pretty much that. We are gonna head up to 2,000 feet. I think that's a fair height to aim for. And then we'll check out the scenery at 2,000 feet. I think it's only fair to give it all the things a certain. Oh, it's really windy, you know. Let's head inland. The wind's knocking me about a lot. I think it's only fair to head to a certain altitude in all the videos, and then we can have a fair look at the texturing that Orbex Global Base is giving us, and all the buildings and that P3D are giving us. And I mean, to be honest, this is looking okay. Frames are really good at this altitude. Buildings are okay, you know. The autogen down there looks okay. Here we go, climb up to 2000 and we'll level off. So looking over out into the distance with the hills, very nice. So here we are at 2000, let's level this plane. Let's check it out. So, as you can see, the basic texturing on the ground here, which will be Orbex Global Base, that has replaced all the textures, you know, are of good quality, you know, are of high quality. And then Orbex vectoring is deciding where these roads and where everything is placed. There is no land class for this area, so as you can see, things are just kind of thrown together. There is no real sort of placement of anything really, because there is no land class, you know, for this area. It's P3D that's doing it, and the P3D land class is pants. So as the textures might look good, they're not put together well, you know. Orbex Global only carries, I believe, a limited land class for certain areas of the world that didn't receive any, like Africa. So this area wouldn't have been one, and gosh, we're still getting pretty windy here. Getting knocked about a lot. Winds are high on Ibiza. So we should be coming around to the airport again. And the skies are active sky and invective sky color and Rex Force Skyforce 3D, in case anybody's wondering. But other than that, looking, you know, just purely at the sim and my appalling flying ability, Ibiza looks a very nice place, an interesting place to fly around, you know, and it doesn't do too bad with the textures. I'm really trying to fly and showcase the scenery. Okay, so we're gonna leave it for Ibiza now. Hello captains, welcome back to part 2 of this video. And in the first video we went to the Balearic Islands of Ibiza. We saw what P3D was giving us, we saw what Orbex was giving us, and FS Global was giving us. Now, I've gone in and I've installed Aerosoft's Balearic Islands Professional, and now we're going to fly them again and see what's happened. So this was the view that I started off with. Now, some reason I've been placed on the taxiway and not on the runway like we did before. So let's spin around. Now, I'm assuming that these are terraflora trees that were placed in conjunction with the island. And then we've got the new textures of the runway here from Aerosoft, as well as them buildings there. They're new. The terrain does look a bit more detailed in terms of its mesh, but its texturing looks a little weaker, I'd say, to be honest. Now, it is photorealistic scenery, so it should, at high flying altitudes, that wasn't there before, that big quarry thing. At high flying altitudes, we should be okay with the what it looks like in terms of its mesh, the sort of terrain look. Sorry. So let's take to the air. Actually, we got to taxi onto the runway first, and let's see what the scenery looks like. This is Ibiza, so this is the first island, and I believe the route we took was literally flying straight and then turning back around on ourselves in the middle part of this video. Now, frame-wise, I've lost some frames. I was getting about 50, 60 frames guaranteed with the other add-ons. This looks better, but it kind of flew down to about 30 to 40. Maybe sometimes 25 it drops down to. It sort of jumps all over the place, to be honest. I don't think it can make its mind up. So I think it does have an impact on your frames when you install this software. But it does come with a nice little handy configurator. Let's have a look at the airport, and I'll tell you about that configurator. The configurator, lovely looking airport. Traffic moving now. I can see planes. It was very barren before. It was very just sort of nothing happening. But now we've got vehicles moving. It's a bustling airport. Not many airplanes flying around, to be honest. Not many holiday makers coming to Ibiza. I'm going to stall out here. The configurator. The airport does look very nice. Does look very good. Oh, hello, new fields over there. So now we've had the land class added. The scenery tiles, the photo real scenery is now being put in a little bit better than it was before. Oh, there's boats over there on the horizon now that have been added. We need to get up to 2,000 just to have a look. And I must say the terrain tiles look a little bit better because they look a bit more photorealistic. Frames are jumping all over the place, but this configurator, what does it do? So once you've installed your scenery, a configurator pops up and allows you to disable photoreal scenery. So if you don't like the look of these textures down here, you can disable it and it will revert back to the Orbex textures that you had. Now it's going to be a personal preference. That some people might go, well, I like the Orbex ones, they look better, they're more enhanced and, you know, dynamic. Do a test, run both and see what you like. Me personally, I prefer photoreal. So this to me looks photorealistic, and in the right lighting will look amazing. I think the mesh that they've added has enhanced the area. But it's also caused, I think, more vegetation to pop up as well. But I think it definitely has enhanced the area. Let's do a turn here. You can also disable stuff with the airport in the configurator as well. If you want to disable the sort of aprons or some of the buildings, the auto-gen, you can, and it will help with your performance of your machine if you have not a high-end machine. Machines, I think, designed to run a flight simulator do cost £1,000 upwards. If you build it yourself, you could probably get away with about paying £700 to £900 for a machine that somebody's probably going to sell for £1,000 or £2,000. So, but I really think you do, for a flight sim, there's thousands of calculations being made. You do need a good scenery. So we're going to climb up to 2,000 and then we're going to dive bomb the airport again. So the reason, as to say, if you're watching this for the first time, the reason that the video is very stuttery is because I'm recording as well as running my weather and all the scenery. And I, to be honest, I don't unload the scenery I'm not using, so it does take longer loading times, but I just leave it all in. Okay, so we're at 2,000. So having a look now, that to me looks a lot better. It probably could do with a few less houses, maybe, but I think that looks fantastic. You know, if we were at a different time, if we did the old time preview trick, I think things would look a lot different. See, like that, and more realistic, you know. Same on the evening, if we put in some evening sun, you know. It is really about the lighting you put in. I always find that early hours of the morning when the sun is just beaming off the horizon, that's the best time. You know, that's when things look the most realistic, in my opinion. So yeah, there we go. Right, let's do a turnaround. The coastlines look very interesting. They've added a bit of sea beach in here, but very nicely done. We're gonna crash this thing, I think. So the airport now, we're just basically gonna fly directly over it here. I think the airport was done very nicely indeed. In fact, let's head over the runway. It's very jerky. The runway, the airport is very, very nice. Very I wouldn't say as detailed as stuff like FS Dream Team or Dreswick Design. They are more highly detailed with shadings and stuff like that, but it's got a lot going on, you know, and it's probably contributing to my frames jumping all over the place, which if I disabled them, you know, I could get away with it, you know, much better. So there we go. We're going to crash here. Right, let's head over now to the next airport on our list, which is Lima. Which one is it? Lima. Was it Elephant or I can't remember. LEPA in Mallorca. We're going to load up that now. I'm going to pause the video here while it's loading, and then in the sort of middle part of this video, we're going to see what Mallorca looks like.